Chapter 156. Claire took it, put it on her hand naturally, looked at it and said, "You did it yourself, right?" "Yes." Charlie nodded and said, "This shell pearl bracelet has the effect of calming the nerves and helping you sleep, and it can also ward off evil and help you in self-defense. Today is a little too late, so it is relatively rough. I will make you better when I have the opportunity in the future." Before he could finish speaking, Claire smiled slightly. "Thank you, I like it very much." "You like it?" Charlie breathed a sigh of relief. The jade necklace he gave to Claire before was very precious, but Claire didn't wear it much. She usually likes to be plain and doesn't care about gold and silver jewelry, so she doesn't like to wear too showy things. However, Claire seemed very pleased with this string of clam bracelets. Seeing Claire, Elaine seemed to like the broken bracelet very much, and muttered angrily, "It's neither gold nor jade, but a bunch of worthless shell pearls. What's the use?" Charlie smiled, not arguing with her. It's okay not to let Claire know its value. Otherwise, she knew that if this magic weapon bracelet was sold, the rich would at least be willing to bid more than $1 billion for it. After giving the bracelet to Claire, Charlie went downstairs, found a courier in the same city, and mailed Qin Gang the shock charm and the premium card together. In this way, it can be regarded as a satisfactory explanation to him. Qin family. Mr. Jinghai was sitting on the Grand Master's chair in the main hall at this time. His face was gloomy and he didn't say a word. When he came to Aurus Hill on this trip, he was aimed at this clam. There are sea spirit beads in it, which are used to make magical artifacts. The value is immeasurable. But he didn't expect Charlie to kill his plans halfway, disrupt his plan and make him gritted his teeth with hatred. Stephen stood by, standing with his hands down. The prestige of Zhuangjitang is outside, and of course the Qin family also recognizes Master Jinghai, and they all stand aside respectfully. Qin Gang smiled complimentarily. "I didn't expect Mr. Jinghai to come to the humble house. Qin is really fortunate. I don't know what is going on with Jinghai's coming." Mr. Jinghai took a sip of tea unhurriedly, put the cup on the table, and said slowly, "I ran into Mr. Stephen at the auction, and he invited me to show your family's fortune." Qin Gang had been prepared to clean up Stephen, and see if he would dare to sneak out next time, but seeing that Stephen invited the famous Mr. Jinghai, he put the pressure down. "Mr. Jinghai, please take your time." Mr. Jinghai nodded and said, "If I'm not wrong, the Qin family has been in bad luck over the past 2 years. I am afraid that someone in the family has an ominous thing. There was a bloody disaster last year. As for this year..." After speaking, he looked around pretending to be mysterious, and sighed, "I think your Qin family's fortune has come to an end. If this continues, the Qin family will be ruined, and the family will be destroyed." As soon as Mr. Jinghai finished speaking, Qin Gang paled, and quickly said respectfully, "Mr. Jinghai, you are truly a master of Zhuangjitang. My Qin family is indeed in bad luck. Please help." Everyone in the Qin family was also surprised. Mr. Jinghai is really an expert, and he is all right. Charlie hasn't replied yet, and Qin Gang has already waited impatiently. But right now, the famous Mr. Jinghai came to the door himself. He seemed to have caught the straw, and asked quickly, "Mr. Jinghai, do you have a solution?" "Of course there is a way." Mr. Jinghai said slowly, and suddenly frowned, "But I see your house. I am afraid that there has been a magical trick that confuses the people recently, which has broken the feng shui and hastened the demise of the Qin family. If you let it continue to harm you, I am afraid that your Qin will all die within half a year." Chapter 157. What, the stick? Qin Gang was stunned for a while. Charlie was the only one who showed feng shui to the Qin family recently. Qin Gang was extremely convinced by Charlie, and quickly said, "Mister, can you read it wrong? There was indeed a Mr. Charlie who helped me resolve it, but his methods are very useful, and it should not be a magic stick." Mr. Jinghai snorted coldly and shouted, "A person who pretends to be a ghost is the best at deceiving an ignorant person. If you are willing to believe him, just let me go." Mr. Jinghai stayed. Qin Gang panicked, and quickly stopped. please enlighten me, Mr. Jinghai, what is wrong with Mr. Wade's method? Without raising his head, Mr. Jinghai reached out and pointed to the central room. You bring a bowl of water. Qin Gang quickly ordered someone to bring a bowl of clear water. Mr. Jinghai took the clear water to read a word, melted a few charms on the water, and then flicked the water on Qin Gang's eyelids. Qin had just opened his eyes, and suddenly he was terrified and backed away. Mr. Jinghai, what is this? He suddenly saw a strange layer of black smoke on his house. Moreover, on the heads of the Qin family, there were wisps of grey lifeless air, and the faces of the people were pale, just like a group of zombies. Mr. Jinghai snorted, I opened the eyes of the sky to you. What you see is Yin Qi, but your family members are all under danger and will die soon. Qin Gang was so frightened that he fell into a chair and muttered, What can I do about this? It's okay, if I come here today, it can be regarded as destined for you. Mr. Jinghai took out a safety talisman and handed it to a member of the Qin clan. Qin Gang suddenly saw that this piece talisman glowed with a faint golden light, and the golden light immediately diminished the death spirit on the head of the tribe. Mr. Jinghai flicked his hand in front of Qin Gang, and everything Qin Gang saw suddenly disappeared and returned to its original state. This Qin Gang was in a cold sweat, and hurriedly said, Mr. Jinghai is really a god. Please save my Qin family, I am willing to pay no matter how much money. Save a life and win a 7th level float. I came here today for this. As Mr. Jinghai said, he took out dozens of safety charms and handed them over. If you order your people to carry these with them, it will naturally resolve the bad luck. Qin Gang took it gratefully and hesitated. I wonder how much Master Jinghai this thing worth? Mr. Jinghai waved his hand. Resolving bad luck is also a merit. I don't accept any money. But if there is a magic stick to coax you and let you spend a lot of money to buy a magical weapon, you must not charge it. Stephen next to him couldn't help saying, Second uncle, I've said Charlie is a liar. He took the money from our house and didn't know where he was going to spend it. You must chase the money back, otherwise you will sue him. Fraud. Let him live his life in prison. Ashua frowned, thinking, not knowing why, but she felt that Mr. Jinghai looked more like a liar. That Charlie, apart from being a bit bad and having no IQ at all, he didn't seem so bad, and in many cases, he could give people a feeling of inscrutable depth, like a deep pool of nowhere. The bottom of the lake or a deep ocean trench. Chapter 158. You shut up. Qin Gang glared at Stephen, then turned and respectfully said to Master Jinghai, Thank you for your advice, I will definitely pay attention to it in the future. Mr. Jinghai nodded meaningfully, got up and left. As soon as Master Jinghai left, Stephen immediately said, Second uncle, Mr. Jinghai is a well-known master of Zhuangjitang. How can a liar like Charlie can be compared to him? This time, Mr. Jinghai will solve all the problems in our family. Yes, it doesn't cost a penny. Mr. Jinghai didn't charge any money, but Charlie cheated our family a lot of money. He spent 100 million and took a piece of a broken shell. This is a scam. You are too naive, how can you give him so much money? If this spreads out, people in Aurus Hill won't call us Qin family fools. Qin Gang was silent, but his face was already suspicious. Mr. Jinghai's reputation is indeed very strong, and the things that Mr. Jinghai just let himself see are vivid and have to be believed. More importantly, Mr. Jinghai did not take a cent, while Charlie spent more than 100 million on the auction. The more such a comparison, the more he felt that Charlie might be something wrong. At this moment, a housekeeper of the Qin family knocked on the door, and only stepped in after getting permission from Qin Gang. Mr. Qin, there is your express. After speaking, he handed over a paper box. Qin Gang frowned, and after unpacking the paper box, he found a token lying quietly inside. Looking closely at this token, it seems that it is only a thin piece, only the size of a matchbox, worn with a cheap red string, and it looks exactly like the stalls in tourist attractions. Qin Gang looked at the sender and saw that the word Charlie was written on it. Looking at the remarks, there are only a few words written on it: scary talisman, hang in the main hall to break the evil. When Stephen saw it, he immediately cursed, D*MN, second uncle, this Charlie treats you as a fool. Just where is this broken shell? Maybe it was bought from a stall on the street. How can it be broken? Moreover, he gave us such a thing for more than 100 million. He still sent it to us. He doesn't care about you face. You said, this Charlie is not a liar, what else can he be? Stephen was so angry, and said sharply, second uncle, let's take someone to Charlie and get the money back. Otherwise, if Charlie runs away, our loss will be too great. You shut up first, let me think about it. Qin Gang said, rubbing his eyebrows, looking at the startled talisman, he really couldn't see any magic. After hesitating for a while, Qin Gang summoned the Qin family members and said with a sullen face, it is a matter of life and death of the Qin family. It is of great importance. I will go to Charlie tomorrow and ask what happened. You must wear Mr. Jinghai's safety talisman. Feel free to take it off. Yes. Second uncle, I want to go too. Stephen gritted his teeth, this person named Charlie has done a lot of harm to me. Now that I'm catching his fox tail, I have to break his leg by myself. Only you? Can you beat him? Qin Gang frowned and said, but if you really want to go, you should bring a few more bodyguards. First inquire about Charlie's whereabouts tomorrow, just in case. After speaking, he paused again and shouted, remember, I didn't ask you to take people to trouble Charlie, I am afraid that you would act recklessly and be beaten again. Stephen was overjoyed and immediately said, I understand. Qin Gang said coldly, although my Qin family is not a top-level family, it can't tolerate others to deceive me. If anyone deceives me, I will respond back. I must check this out. If Charlie really pretends to be what he is not, I will not forgive him. Chapter 159. After leaving Qin's house, Mr. Jinghai immediately made up his wishful thinking. He naturally wanted Charlie to avenge him, and he wanted to take back the clams that Charlie had stolen, but this was not enough. When he came to Aurus Hill this time, he also wanted to establish a prestige in Aurus Hill, recruit a group of believers, and provide more support to his career. Therefore, he planned a game that he thought was the best of both worlds. Think of Charlie as the key to killing the chicken and the monkey and letting the whole Aurus Hill surrender. Charlie didn't know that the so-called Mr. Jinghai was planning to use himself to sacrifice the flag. In the evening, he was preparing to buy vegetables and cook when he suddenly received a call from Warnier. After picking it up, Warnier had a serious tone and said directly to Charlie, Mr. Charlie, that Mr. Jinghai invited some masters in antiques, feng shui, and metaphysics to hold a banquet at White's house. Ask me if you have time to go there. White family. Which type of family is it? Warnier said, a middle-class family. They have two male descendants, Gerald and Fred White. Both of them? How could they be elected to his house? Charlie asked strangely. Warnier explained, recently the White family has not been going well. The son Fred White and nephew Gerald have had troubles one after another. The White family's career has also plummeted. Therefore, the White family's head begged Mr. Jinghai and wanted him to change the feng shui of the White family. While speaking, Warnier continued, but I think Mr. Jinghai has invited a bunch of metaphysical masters. It may not be as simple as trying to earn some money from the White family. There may be other thoughts. Charlie smiled and said nonchalantly, I snatched the clam at the auction and choked him. I am sure that he wants to retaliate against me. It is estimated that this time he set up a set for me. Right. With a slight smile, Charlie said again, but I will go this time and see face to face what tricks he wants to play. Warnier saw that he agreed and said, that's it, the place is at White's house. Tomorrow morning, let's go together. I will drive to pick you up. Done. Early the next morning, Warnier drove to pick up Charlie and went to White's house. White's villa is located on the mountainside in the suburbs with beautiful scenery. The pavilions in this area were all built into antique buildings. The White family spent hundreds of millions to decorate them. They are usually used to receive distinguished guests or entertain friends. Outside the pavilion by the lake, there are dozens of yellow rosewood chairs. A dozen invited guests have sat down and communicating with each other, and laughter came from time to time. Sitting in the main seat is a fat middle-aged man. He is Fred White's father, Solomon White. And sitting beside him was Mr. Jinghai. In addition to these two people, Charlie also met two acquaintances, Tai Lai, the richest man in Haicheng, and Guoming, who followed him. Seeing Charlie coming in, Tai Lai nodded to Charlie. Solomon White glanced at him sideways and snorted coldly. Obviously he also knew that Fred and Gerald had suffered a loss at Charlie's hands, so seeing Charlie, he didn't have a good face. Fun Gui Bao quickly stood up to greet him and said, "Mr. Charlie, Miss Song, you are here." Chapter 160. Charlie nodded and said with a smile, "Come and see the style of Master Jinghai." A middle-aged man in a long gown asked in surprise, "This is the buyer who took the finale at the auction with $1 billion?" Fun Gui Bao smiled and introduced, "It is Mr. Wade." "What? Mr. Wade?" Solomon White glanced at Charlie disdainfully, and then smiled. Now the name of Master Wade is almost worthless. Any kind of waste can call himself a master, and he is truly capable like Mr. Jinghai. The master, but so low-key. As soon as he finished speaking, the crowd was embarrassed. It wasn't that Solomon White deliberately belittled him, it was indeed that Charlie could not be called a master regardless of age or style of clothing. And all masters present here are almost all defiant people in the metaphysical world. To let them and Charlie, a young man, call out Master Wade, many people here are unhappy. Mr. Jinghai stood up and smiled calmly, "It's okay. I want to take advantage of the king's place to host this banquet. I also want to get together with you. As for who is the real master and who is the one who is worthy of fame, I will wait. It's natural to see the difference." After hearing Mr. Jinghai's words, everyone present couldn't help but sneer at Charlie. This kind of hairy boy is not just for fame, but what else can it be? Warnia also frowned slightly. She knew that Mr. Jinghai would target Charlie, but she did not expect that the atmosphere would be so solemn as soon as she entered. However, Charlie looked cold, walked up to his chair and sat down without squinting. He didn't know everything around him. When Solomon White saw that everyone was there, he said, "Since everyone is here, then I will tell you that today, Mr. Jinghai took advantage of our White's place to host this banquet. First, I wanted to get to know you, and second, too, I want to learn from everyone." "How to compare?" someone asked. "Naturally is based on the level of magic." At this time, Mr. Jinghai stood up and explained, "The rules are very simple. As we all know, there are 5 disciplines in our metaphysics. You can choose the category you are good at and choose your opponent to compete. In order to be more formal, the funds are sponsored by the White family. Each contest has a prize of 5 million. Whoever wins will take away 5 million, and the loser will also have 50,000 horses. This rule is reasonable, and money can be made." Many people nodded in agreement. People in the metaphysical circles usually do their own things, and the cards will not be easily revealed. Today, the people who come to the banquet are all capable people in the metaphysical circles. Everyone gathers together to compete. Not only can they find out about each other's details, but also get bonuses and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Just to learn from each other? Charlie sneered slightly. He didn't think that Mr. Jinghai held today's banquet just to prove his prowess. After Solomon White waited for everyone to discuss it, he continued, "However, setting up a bonus alone may not arouse everyone's enthusiasm. After all, everyone has a wealth and there is no shortage of these millions. So in order to make everyone more motivated, there is an additional condition, that is, the winner either chooses to take away the 5 million bonus, or take away something from the loser. The one who wins in the end is the first sage in the metaphysical circle of Nanguang area. From now on, all the cult people in Nanguang area will respect him. Anything large and small in the area will be respected with the consent of the person." As soon as he finished speaking, the whole yard was quiet. For a moment, there was a commotion again, and many people showed upset expressions and started talking. What if the challenger chooses a category that the challenged party is not good at? The metaphysical world in Nangguang area respects the first. Isn't this looting for territory? Isn't this funny? In the profound arts world in Nangguang area, we have always been accustomed to our own way. Now it is really nonsense to take orders from others. Besides, there are people who are not from Nangguang, right? There was a lot of discussion among the crowd, and they did not expect that this so-called banquet was actually a Hongmen banquet that Mr. Jinghai wanted to dominate the Nangguang Academy.